Good afternoon. Have a seat, please. What a wonderful occasion that we're getting to do it in person. I couldn't. I'm Lee Ham. I'm the Senior Vice President and Dean of the School of Medicine. And I couldn't be happier to be at the 2021 commencement of the School of Medicine. This has been an incredible year, culminating in this. Let's have you rise again for the national anthem. The invocation will be given by Father Bill Terry.
Thank you, Dean Ham. Brothers, sisters, faculty, physicians, family, and friends, be still and allow the presence of the Creator to come upon you. This day we acknowledge the holy work of so many. This day we acknowledge the heroic work and exhaustion of those who give comfort to the suffering and train bright spirits during this pandemic. And to you, our newest physicians, who have absorbed the teaching of the holy work of healing. Bless those who are with us and those who cannot be with us. Bless the words of our lips and the meditations of our heart, that all may be acceptable to you. Continue to inspire and excite by your Spirit the imagination of our healers. Continue to give us a sense of social justice, that all may be well. Bless, therefore, this day of jubilation, that we may celebrate all of our lives in the hope of health, in the hope of new knowledge, in the hope of a soaring human spirit that rests in the image and likeness of you, the first cause, the creator and sustainer of life itself. Amen.
Let me introduce the platform party and special guest here today. As I said, I'm Lee Ham. I'm the Dean and the Doty Distinguished Professor and Chair. To my right is Patrick Norton, who is the Senior Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of the university, and also the Chair of the Board of Tulane Hospital. Dr. Patrick Delafontaine, who's the Executive Dean of the School of Medicine. Dr. Kevin Crane, and maybe everybody be certain to raise your hand so that you can, and hopefully I can tell who it is too. Dr. Kevin Crane, the Vice Dean for Academic Affairs. Dr. Elma Ledoux, the Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs, Dr. Tonette Krause-Wood, the Senior Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs. You've already seen Reverend William Terry, who's the rector at St. Anna's Episcopal Church. Immediately behind him is Dr. Gabriella Pridgeon, who's the Associate Dean for Surgical Services and also the Chair, Department of OBGYN. Dr. Dimitri Ameriganor, the Chair of Neurology. Dr. Hua Lu, who is the Chair of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology. Dr. Eddie Dinar, Chair of Family Medicine. Wanted to be certain I got the face right. It's like a group of bank robbers, you know, with these masks. Dr. David Buseja, Chair of Pharmacology. Dr. Greg Biggs, who's the Director of the Clinical Neuroscience Research Center. I'll start at the other end. Dr. Vashi Badaman, who is the Senior Executive Vice Chair of the Department of Medicine. Dr. Paul Friedlander, the Chair of ENT. And then Dr. David Ho, who is the President of the Medical Student Government, and Dr. Catherine Isaacson. Anyway, I also want to start out by recognizing the military graduates, and maybe if you would stand as your name is called. David Eccles, the U.S. Army. Is David here? Haley Stevens, the U.S. Navy. And Eric Williamson, also the U.S. Navy. Good. Congratulations on that, and we wish you well. So, today marks the 187th commencement ceremony of the Tulane University School of Medicine, and I'm honored to be part of this. These exercises not only celebrate the accomplishments of the graduating class, but reaffirm our missions of education, research, and service and connection to the community. Over 17,000 applications were received for this class to enter some 190 positions. And they've not just graduated medical school, but they graduated medical school completing it after the toll that we've been under with COVID the past 15 to 16 months. This last summer and fall, 7 or 8 hurricane threats, economic recession. Many have had personal challenges and family tragedies. Many on the stage have gone through also, and I'm sure many in the audience have suffered in many ways. So it's a real testament to resilience, a testament to character, that we're here today to celebrate your graduation. You know, as I prepare these remarks every year, I try to think of something profound and impactful to say, but knowing that I can only hope that some of you are paying a little bit of attention and maybe can even remember it. 2 themes came to mind as I thought about this. One is, as I read the physician oath that's in the handout that goes with the booklet of the ceremony, it struck me that not only is that oath a great guide for physicians, but many aspects of that are actually a great guide to life. The second theme, and I'll have you do that and interpret them as you will, but the other thing that struck me as I thought about you entering your career of medicine, you know, I'm obviously, I love medicine. I think it's a great profession for many ways, and for different ways. One of the things, though, that it does, and I was actually speaking to the Reverend before the ceremony, I think it teaches you a lot about life. You know, when I was a resident in the ICU, and then later other services where things were really tough, a good day was measured by whether everybody survived. All my patients survived. And so it gives you perspectives as you face various challenges. Hopefully not most challenges, but did everybody make it through? The second is that, as an example, and these are just small examples of how medicine can teach you things about life, and that occurred to me as I was thinking about it is, you know, most of us every now and then can feel sorry for ourselves. You know, oh, you know, I'm, you know, this or that. I wish this or that misfortune. But in medicine, often you just have to go to the next patient, and you find somebody that is suffering enormously. And you may go to the next one, and they're suffering even more and are persevering despite enormous challenges, and that's certainly true in life. But it teaches you things like risk and reward. Obviously, anytime you go to do a therapy, you know the benefits of some medicine that you may give, but you know, you also have to weigh what the risk is. And certainly that gets more profound with things like surgery or other. And you also have to consider, and that's a good lesson in life, you know, to consider not only the reward of something, but what's the risk. Another aspect is, what if I'm wrong? You know, you take, you know, everything you do, you have some measure of whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do. Do you have all the information? Well, with patients, that becomes vitally important. You know, this patient looks like they have COVID, and so you treat them as if they have COVID. And then maybe if you didn't think about that they have a pulmonary embolus, you would have treated them different. So you have to consider, what if you're wrong about your initial impression? And the corollary of that is not making the diagnosis without adequate evidence, and also a good one of those lessons. This time, to shift gears back to the rest of the program, let me introduce the president of the Medical Student Government Association, Dr. Daniel Ho. Daniel completed his undergraduate studies at UC Irvine with a Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences. He served this past year as president of the government during a time at which it oversaw 60 student clubs, $150,000 budget, and it took quite a lot of leadership through such a challenging time. You know, many people have shown that, but certainly Daniel has. Daniel's interest in healthcare policy and administration led to his coordination of a medical school elective in healthcare policy and reform. His leadership style and his willingness to listen earned him the great respect of his classmates. Daniel?
Thank you, Dean Ham, for that introduction, and thank you, everyone, for attending today. Hi everyone, my name's Daniel Ho, like Dean Ham just mentioned, and welcome to those visiting New Orleans, either for the first time or visiting us virtually today. And class of 2021, we did it. Unbelievable. So very much of this has been said already, but we all made it through a truly, truly difficult time for us. And I have the privilege of speaking to you very briefly today. To those who are joining us virtually this year, whether it's students or loved ones, congratulations, we thank you for tuning in and hope that you can also celebrate safely. Before continuing, I would like to take a moment to recognize how lucky and grateful we all are to be able to experience this ceremony live and in person, and especially for the students to be able to receive their hoods and diplomas here on stage. This year has been tough on all of us. I want to commend everyone's determination, courage, and just the ability to get through this year. And I also want to recognize the hardships that many of us have had to face this year. COVID has been an unfortunately indelible part of not just our medical student lives, but of everyone in this room for the past 15 or so months. And just being able to see some of your faces in the audience can hopefully inspire us all forwards. Before we can take the next step forward in our medical careers, some thanks are in order for those who helped us get to this point. First, we want to thank the wonderful and supportive faculty, physicians, and staff who took their time out to guide us, to mentor us, and ultimately who helped us make it to this stage today. Second, to the people of New Orleans and the people of Louisiana, a diverse population who have graciously allowed us to participate in their care, who have been vulnerable and welcoming, even in the face of difficulty and hardship, and from whom we have been so lucky to be able to learn from and bring those skills into our future. And lastly, a thank you to our amazing support systems. Whether you're in this room or watching from afar, and as I'm sure you've heard, medical school has been a uniquely difficult journey in more than 1,000 different ways, and we thank you for sticking with us all the way to the end. As we're about 65 minutes away from the privilege of being called doctor for the rest of our lives, this is a good time to reflect on the journeys we've taken so far, and the increased responsibilities that will come with being a physician. The great poet Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people may forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." As physicians, we're ready to assume a great deal of responsibility for our future patients, and the impact that we can have on them is incalculable. On my medicine rotation, a patient's family took the time to confide in me the appreciation for our attending physician's bedside manner and how much he helped them as they faced an incredibly difficult time together as a family, and what all of that meant to them. That physician, Dr. Ledoux, sitting to my left, showed me just what an impact we can have on our patients, how far even small gestures can go, and the importance of just listening to our patients and treating them all with the utmost respect and care. After being around the class of 2021 for 4 years now, I'm confident that this incredible group of doctors definitely has what it takes to make that same kind of lasting positive impact on their patients, advocate for their patients' health and for their needs, and get out there and be the best physicians that we can all be. With that, to speak a little bit more on the achievements of the class of 2021, I now have the pleasure of introducing someone very special to our class, our fearless leader, Dr. Catherine Casey Isaacson. Casey began her time at Tulane as a medical student as a teaching assistant for our anatomy course, a course which was all of our first introduction to medical school. And I say this all the time, but I'm not kidding when I say I wouldn't have passed anatomy without her. And I'm sure there are other folks who would say the same. Soon after, she was elected class president and has remained in that role for 4 consecutive years, guiding our class, planning some wonderful social events, and being that one voice that truly guides our class. Especially in this year of COVID, I've had the privilege of attending weekly meetings with the school staff and administration alongside Casey, and I've seen the amount of passion, dedication, and care that she put into representing our class overall. As class president, Casey has been always sure to keep everyone updated on any important issues affecting our class, and has worked tirelessly behind the scenes to advocate for our success. I'd like to now call Casey Isaacson to the stage to deliver some more remarks about just how incredible our class is and has been. Thank you very much.
Whew. Thank you, Daniel, for those extremely kind remarks. I am a little bit overwhelmed by them. Good afternoon, friends, family, classmates. I was struggling to think about how I could possibly sum up this class and this experience that we've had over the past 4 years. So I got some sage advice from the wonderful Dean Crane, and his advice was, just remember, you're making this speech to celebrate the fact that you're becoming doctors, so make sure what you say is appropriate for that fact. Thus, to everyone's relief, I'm going to leave any of my beloved stories about block parties, Mardi Gras, and the like at home, and just focus on the experience that we've had becoming doctors at Tulane. So as I sit in this room today, I find myself looking around in awe of the people that, the doctors that I'm sitting among. This feeling of looking around at all of you in awe is one that is very familiar for me. It's something that's happened consistently over the last 4 years. I distinctly remember sitting in debate during orientation, the first time we were all together as a class, and hearing someone read this enormous list of accomplishments that you all had before you got into medical school, and just thinking, I am so wholly inadequate to be a member of this group, and I'm just lucky to be sitting here. And then as the year went on and I got to know you guys, I realized that not only are you the most impressive people academically and professionally, but you're also just really good people at your heart. From the get-go, we managed to create this environment that was caring, supportive, diverse, and truly fun, which was not something that I anticipated coming into medical school. Outside of just being impressive in the medical school curriculum, you guys also worked so hard to just be good people in the community. Whether it was at a white coat for Black Lives rally, whether it was at a huge PPE drive in the middle of a global pandemic, or just using our voices to speak up against the injustices happening at Tulane, you all worked tirelessly to advocate for the marginalized communities both inside and outside of Tulane. All of these things continued throughout our 4 years. You worked for each other, you supported each other, you were kind to each other. The grace, the heart, and the resiliency that our class has constantly demonstrated has been astounding. You have handled a challenging course load while also navigating personal tragedies, injustices, systemic oppression, and a global pandemic. I'm confident that the Tulane community is a better place because of our values and the positive changes that we have made to this school. So after 4 really incredible years, here we are, doctors. And to be honest, I still stumble over all phrases that describe me as doctor. But while I might have a tough time viewing myself as a doctor right now, I have complete confidence in every single one of you. Not only are you guys doctors in this moment, but I'm confident you will grow to be the kind of doctor that I aspire to be. I've been blown away during medical school by the people that I've found myself surrounded by, and I've been so honored to serve you guys as class president over the last 4 years. If it hasn't been clear to everyone in the audience as I gush about my classmates, I've had a really incredible experience here for 4 years. However, I would also be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that not every person graduating today has had as positive an experience as I have had. So to those people both sitting in this room and at home, thank you for being a member of our class, and thank you for your perseverance throughout the last 4 years. I'm so excited to see what your next chapter brings you. So that being said, I'd like to invite Dean Ann up to the podium. Dean Ham? I'd like to invite you up to the podium. Yes. So I'm supposed to present you with the class gift. However, our class gift is a very large item, and I was not able to carry it up on stage for you. But for our class gift, what we got for the school was a fancy reclining massage chair. Because our class has been so supportive of each other over the last 4 years, we wanted to continue to support the people at Tulane and put it in Murphy to help with all the step studying anxiety. So I don't have it with me, but there's a beautiful chair to be delivered to Murphy. And that is all from me.
Thank you very much. I hope that you and Daniel will, I get to see you toted into Murphy. The next item on the agenda is the introduction and then the presentation of our keynote speaker, Dr. Rachel Levine. Dr. Levine serves as the 17th Assistant Secretary for Health of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. That position, just so you know, and a little bit about the history of how we came to invite her, I became aware, we had another alumnus that was receiving an award in Pennsylvania, and we became aware that they were receiving this, and did the medical school want to recognize that in Pennsylvania? And they said, oh, the person giving the award is the Secretary of Health in Pennsylvania. So we became aware. I was not aware that the Secretary of Health in Pennsylvania was Dr. Levine, a Tulane alumnus till that time. And so we decided, okay, well, we will help be a sponsor of the event. And so we became aware of her then. This position, the Assistant Secretary, is in some ways the most powerful position overseeing health in the country. You know, we tend to see more, in some ways, the more public face of the CDC director or maybe the NIH director, but Health and Human Services is obviously an enormous. The secretary actually doesn't have a healthcare background, so she's in some ways the most important foundation for the country's direction in health. We extended an invitation to her as soon as she was nominated, and about, I guess, May 1, she let us know she was going to be here in person, which we were all prepared for. Unfortunately, within 24 hours, apparently the people around her in the government were saying, okay, the rules aren't going to allow that. But her career, I would give you more of a bio, but what you're going to see will give you a little bit of her bio. Her history in academic medicine, and then as a physician and the head of Pennsylvania's Office of Secretary of Health. And she has worked for literally decades on the intersection of mental and physical health, often treating children, adolescents, and young adults. So we're going to now play the video that she recorded for us.
Thank you very much for that wonderful welcome. It is truly my pleasure to be joining you all at the Tulane University School of Medicine to congratulate the graduating class of 2021. This is a very special occasion in your lives, and I am honored to be your graduation speaker, as Tulane helped form the foundation of my training and my career. To all of the students, congratulations for taking this important step in your lives. As a fellow graduate, I can confidently say that you have made a smart decision by coming here to the Tulane School of Medicine. You have received an outstanding education, but you have also faced a year of challenges and uncertainty with COVID-19. COVID-19 tested many of your skills early on, especially one skill that you will always need: adaptability. It has also thrust the importance of public health right into the spotlight. Public health is truly, right now, at the center of the universe. We have seen the dedication from all of our medical workforce shine through during this pandemic. But it is important to remember your own mental health as you join the medical community. Realize when you need a break and when you're giving too much of yourself. You can only help others if you are healthy too. Your time here has given you knowledge and the application of that knowledge, and they are essential skills that you have learned, but they are not the only skills. You have received other lessons here as well that you will need in your lives, and you need to pay attention to them. These include compassion and sensitivity, empathy and concern for your family and your friends, for your colleagues, and for yourselves. Patience, curiosity, along with flexibility, and the need to be calm and confident with the ability to innovate and to expect the unexpected. Now, there is a quote from the author Douglas Adams from his book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, from the late 1970s. And the quote is, "I may not have gone where I intended to go, but I think I ended up where I intended to be." You have to think about that one for a minute. It's an interesting saying. And I want to give you some personal examples from my own life and my career. So I went to Harvard College and then came here to the Tulane University School of Medicine. At that time, I absolutely would have never thought I would be the Assistant Secretary for Health. I was concentrating on learning the basics of medicine, how to diagnose and treat illnesses, and I was soon drawn to pediatrics. And as a student here at Tulane, I was confident I would basically tackle the small task of eliminating the ailments for the youth and children of New Orleans. Not that I was an idealist in any way. I realized that it would take more than 1 year. It might take all 4 years of medical school to accomplish that. Well, I guess remember to have patience and set realistic goals. While I might not have eliminated all the ailments for the children of New Orleans, even as a student, I definitely made a difference to individual children and their families. Please remember the impact that your work has on the days you get frustrated with the medical and public health systems. I enjoyed my time here at Tulane very much, and I received an outstanding education. As the Secretary of Health of Pennsylvania, and now as the Assistant Secretary of Health at HHS, I am using everything that I have ever learned in my daily work. And I often think back to how I might know some piece of medical or public health information. And then I remember that it was at Tulane that I learned that important nugget. I also gained a tremendous amount of clinical experience at Tulane, at the Tulane Medical Center, and at Charity Hospital, and that has helped me greatly in my career. Following medical school, I went to Mount Sinai in New York City for my training in pediatrics and adolescent medicine. One of the most significant lessons that I learned in my training was the importance of teamwork. In the hospital and in the clinics, we had to work as a team to take care of the complex patients that we were seeing. And I learned that collaboration and communication was far more valuable than competition. Now, in 1993, I took the step to leave New York, and I went to Hershey, Pennsylvania, to the Penn State College of Medicine and the Hershey Medical Center. Now, you actually can really smell the cocoa from the factory, and the streets are lined with streetlights with little Hershey Kisses on top. And there, I started and ran an eating disorder program. I worked there in pediatrics and adolescent medicine. I practiced academic medicine with patient care, teaching and education, clinical research. The triple threat. I fulfilled all of my missions. But remember the quote, "I may not have gone where I intended to go, but I think I ended up where I intended to be." I certainly had another transformation in my life. As you know, I am an openly transgender woman, and approximately 10 or more years ago, I transitioned. At Penn State Hershey, they have this great Office of Diversity. They had a non-discrimination policy that included sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. I was not just tolerated, I was not just accepted, but I was welcomed there for the diversity that I brought to the School of Medicine and the Medical Center. So I would like to highlight the importance of diversity. Diversity for a school, a medical center, in business, in government, really every organization. I strongly feel that diversity, in all of its myriad and wonderful aspects, should be welcomed and celebrated for the way that it strengthens and enhances any organization. Well, a little over 6 years ago, my life took another turn. Basically, I am minding my business, well ensconced in academic medicine, seeing my patients, running my program, when I got a phone call to co-chair the Transitions Committee for Health for then Governor-elect Tom Wolf in Pennsylvania. I agreed to serve as the co-chair of the committee, but I made sure to tell them that I'm not giving up my day job. I am committed to staying at Penn State Hershey in academic medicine. But as I was doing that report, essentially working 2 jobs over the holidays, I became intrigued by the work in terms of public health, population health, and public service. I reached out, and we discussed a role for me in the administration, and that started it all. And then in about a week and a half, this amazing transition occurred. Again, I met the Chief of Staff, I met Governor Wolf, and I was asked to join the team as the Physician General of Pennsylvania. So basically, I saw patients on Monday, I was sworn in on Tuesday, And on Wednesday, I am sitting at the Pennsylvania Department of Health at 8 o'clock in the morning, wondering what just happened. Still, as idealistic as I was when I started at Tulane and Mount Sinai, now hoping to cure all of the ills of everyone in Pennsylvania. Now, once COVID-19 hit, it became and continues to be my most urgent and primary focus. Now, I am a positive and optimistic person, and I truly believe that working together, we can overcome this challenge and we can build back better, using the lessons that we are learning now to develop better public health systems moving forward. But the journey continues. In January of this year, I received a text about 10 p.m. Now, I go to bed at about 9 p.m. I know, it's sad. So I was sleeping. It was a text from the Biden transition team asking if maybe I'd be interested in a job and to call back tomorrow. Well, so much for sleep that night. So the next day, I answered the text and spoke with the transition team, who asked if I would be interested in the position of the Assistant Secretary for Health. Well, yeah, and that began the vetting process, which was challenging. The Monday before the inauguration, I was formally offered the position. There's some symmetry here. It was announced on Tuesday. The inauguration was on Wednesday. I left the Pennsylvania Department of Health on Friday. And after my confirmation, now I stand before you as the Assistant Secretary for Health, a position I never imagined that I would hold. But it is an honor to do so. So you might say that I have lived a life of transition. So my recommendations to you are to think and plan big, to have big goals for your career, and know that life may take many different turns and send you on many unexpected paths. But I am confident that your education here at Tulane will prepare you for all of the roads that you might take, those expected and unexpected. And keep that idealism. It'll be shaped by realism as well, but don't lose it. Now I'm going to leave you with a couple more pieces of advice. You must stay calm and confident. The metaphor that I like to use is the eye of the hurricane. In the middle of the hurricane, in the eye, it's rather peaceful. Now the hurricane itself is chaotic, it's forceful, it's unpredictable, somewhat like life. But in the center, it is calm. So in the midst of the turmoil of your career, of life itself, try to keep yourself centered. And if you do, you will be able to make the right decision at the right moment. Now, I don't want to make you nervous, but I want to tell you a story. So in 1983, many years ago, I am at my Tulane School of Medicine graduation with my parents, with my wife at that time, and her parents, and they're all very proud. So I get my diploma. They actually handed me the diploma. And we go to lunch at the wonderful Hotel Pontchartrain, still there, in the Garden District in New Orleans. We had a wonderful lunch. And we walk out of the restaurant after that lovely meal, and there's a woman seizing in front of the hotel. The hotel staff is trying to put her in a chair, which, as you know, is very difficult if you're having a tonic-clonic seizure. So I walk up and say, no, you can't do that. Call an ambulance. So they called an ambulance. It took 45 minutes for that ambulance to arrive. In that time, the woman did wake up. She says that she has a history of a seizure disorder. She's been on medication. She lost her medication, and then she seizes again, and then she keeps seizing. She is in status epilepticus. The ambulance arrives, and I walk up and say, hi, I'm Rich Levine, as I was at that time, and this is a 45-year-old woman with a history of a seizure disorder. She lost her medication, she's having tonic-clonic seizures, and she's now in status epilepticus. And the ambulance driver looks at me and says, who are you? You're not the usual bystander. So I say, well, actually, I'm Dr. Levine, and I just graduated from Tulane. And actually, here is my diploma in my hand. Well, the ambulance drivers at that time had this little box where they would call the hospital. So they called up Charity Hospital in their little box. And they said, well, we're here with this woman. She looks really, really sick. But don't worry, we're with MD. And I went, well, you're with MD as of about 2 hours ago with my diploma in my hand. But what's the saying? Keep calm and carry on. So the ambulance driver loads her into the ambulance. I pile into the ambulance. My wife at that time piles into the ambulance, also a medical student at Tulane. All of our parents wave and we drive off to Charity Hospital. So we're treating her in the ambulance, and of course, she becomes apneic. She stops breathing. We get the ambu bag, we start to perform resuscitations. So 2 hours after I graduate from medical school, I actually roll back into Charity Hospital performing CPR and resuscitating this woman. She did fine, by the way. So no pressure. I don't know, do you hear an ambulance? No, I think you're okay. No pressure. So you must stay calm and confident. Don't live your life with fear. That wise sage, Yoda, from Star Wars. Now, that's not Baby Yoda. That's from The Mandalorian. That's different. The original Yoda says that fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering. So, I offer my most enthusiastic congratulations to today's graduates of the Tulane School of Medicine. The education that you each received during your time here, both in and outside of the classroom, has prepared you well for personal and professional success. I ask every graduate to use the excellent education that you have received at Tulane to work towards the common good. With hard work and intense focus, your class will usher in a brighter future for our country and the world. Congratulations, you are starting on a remarkable journey, and I have complete faith and confidence in you. Thank you.
What a remarkable message, and I'll pass along everyone's thanks on behalf of the entire Tulane School of Medicine for her many contributions and service. Hopefully, we'll be able to have her visit on campus sometime soon. I want to next present some special awards. First, the Gloria Walsh Award is given by the medical student body in honor of Gloria Walsh, the late wife of John Walsh, the Chancellor Emeritus of the Tulane University Health Science Center. The recipient is selected by the OWL Club, the elected organization whose goal is the constant advancement of medical education at Tulane. The award is given to the recipient for inspiring excellence in teaching and promoting high ethical standards. This year's recipient is Dr. Lu Chu, Assistant Professor of the Department of Structural and Cell Biology. If she would come forward. I think there's a certificate somewhere, but I'm going to give you a bottle of water. Wow, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
A little confession. Earlier, I noticed that I did want to recognize Dr. Karen Weisbacher, who's also on the podium. But as so frequently happens when I go to introduce people, I block on their name. Anyway, who cares? Anyway, the next award is the Tulane School of Medicine Dean's Award. It's given to the graduating senior medical student for superior four-year academic achievement. There are two recipients. I think only Brett Campbell is here, and Ashley Belushi is not able to be here. Brett, can you come forward? Congratulations. Now, the really, really important part is Dr. Elma Ledoux, the Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs, will now present the graduates.
Prior to the presentation of our medical school graduates, the School of Medicine would like to recognize those who received their PhD degrees from our graduate program in the biomedical sciences. At this time, I'd like to call Dr. Kevin Crane to the podium to read the names of those graduates so that they may be recognized here on stage.
I'd like to begin with Dr. Yuji Chen, Dr. Michelle Gales Pena, Dr. Zainisha Jimire, Dr. Joseph P. Hoffman, and also coming up will be Dr. Joy Alajumoki Olayiwola. And I'd also like to recognize Dr. Vivian Shoyun Park and Dr. Kian Zhang.
Thank you, Dr. Crane. It's come to the moment that you've been awaiting for 4 years. Will the graduates for the degree Doctor of Medicine please rise? Having fulfilled all requirements for the degree conferred by President Michael A. Fitz on Friday, May 21st, 2021. Dr. Ham, I have the honor to present these graduates for receipt of the Doctor of Medicine diploma. Congratulations. Please be seated. Students receiving multiple degrees will be identified individually. As you walk across the stage and receive your hood, Dr. Crabtree is at her own child's graduation today, and I will be taking her place as hooder, as her role as class sponsor. And you'll walk across the stage and receive your diploma. Under the rules of the Convention Center, unfortunately, we can't allow for shaking of hands. I guess elbow bump is okay, but you will receive your diploma and then go off stage and have your photograph taken. Students will be led out by rows, and so we will begin the diploma ceremony. Dr. Crane will come forward now and begin the reading of the names.
And I will be reading your names with the appropriate title for our most recent graduates of the Tulane University School of Medicine. So I would like to begin by recognizing Dr. Joseph Adetola Adedigba, and you will see the faces and the names of those graduates who are not able to be present, but I will be reading all the names. Dr. Basim Ademi, Dr. Oluwatomi Alamigo Kelafedo Akingbola, Dr. Ayan Ali, Dr. Jana Marie Aliberti, also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Ashley Elizabeth Allen. Dr. Chakwudedum Abiageli Anumika. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health, Dr. Christopher Luke Antonacci. Dr. Matthew Les Ashton. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Olivia Rose Avindan. Receiving his Master's of Public Health also, Dr. Nelson Minor Bean. Dr. Adam Henry Bagley. Also receiving a Master's of Science, Dr. Mackenzie Lynn Bird. Dr. Brandon Frederick Bob. Dr. Matthew Richard Boisvert, also receiving a Master's of Public Health. Dr. Scott Charles Brimley. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health and Tropical Medicine, Dr. Christopher Robin Briones. Dr. Karen Nyak Tram Bowie. Also receiving a Master's of Science, Dr. Nicholas J. Burley. Dr. Anna Rebecca Busia. Dr. Lauren Elizabeth Kaldemeyer. Dr. Brett Alvin Campbell. Dr. Carmen Maria Carlos. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Fiona Kalicia Chambers. Dr. Michael F. Chan. Dr. Shai Mordechai Chazin. Dr. Alan Lee Chen. Dr. Lauren H. Chen. Dr. Victor Aaron Chen. Dr. Namachi L. Chicory. Dr. Julie Chu. Also receiving a Master of Science, Dr. Caitlin Alexandra Cook. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Kara Corin. Dr. Andrew Rodney Crawford. Dr. Michelle Annette Crowley. Dr. Spencer D. Dalton. Dr. Kelsey Charmaine Da Silva. Dr. Anjali R.T. Deendayal. Dr. Brian Patrick Dick. Dr. Adira Divaguran. Dr. Alikim Paul Dorbu. Also receiving a Master's of Business Administration, Dr. Christopher Duncan. Dr. David Lauren Eccles. Dr. Lauren Camilla Eng. Dr. Chidiobella A. Enua. Dr. Michael Echo Asansi, Jr. Also receiving a Master of Science, Dr. Rebecca Elizabeth Fabian. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health in Tropical Medicine, Dr. Samuel Curtis Fisnick. Dr. Hannah Winthrop Fisk. Dr. Megan Rachel Flanagan. Dr. Megan Marie Isabel Flaviano. Dr. Sophia Marie Forshani. Dr. Dan Freckling. Also receiving a Master's of Science, Dr. Sonora Marie Generelli. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Frances Loretta Gill. Dr. Aaron Scott Gillette, also receiving an MBA. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Caroline Blake Granruth. Dr. Madeline Veronica Haig. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Sarah Peru Hermans. Dr. Andrew James Hinkle. Dr. Daniel Benjamin Ho. Dr. Damick Ryan Homiak. Dr. Jennifer Hong. Dr. Therese Fuquen An Hoof. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. August Clark Houghton. Dr. Brendan Huang. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Michelle Nicole Huber. Dr. Jordan Brock Hughes. Dr. Catherine Casey Campbell Isaacson, also receiving her Master's of Science. Dr. Kayla Ryan Iolucci. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Samantha Ariel Janfaza. Dr. Brian Sebastian Jang. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Christina Lauren Jardak. Dr. Arendra Jayasekara. Dr. Jordan Daniel Jensen. Also receiving his PhD, Dr. Austin Taylor Jones. Dr. Taryn Jane Jurgensen. Also receiving her PhD, Dr. Tiffany Kieran Call. Dr. Elizabeth Calhoun Kennedy, also receiving her Master's of Public Health. Dr. Justine Wu Kerr. Dr. Newman Kessler. Dr. Hani Suhail Kadra. Dr. Jasmine Eun Yang Kim. Dr. Adam Zachary Klein. Dr. Matthew C. Kogan. Dr. Christopher Philip Kantoyoryes. Dr. James Condren Quo. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health, Dr. Hirofumi Kusumoto. Dr. David Lee. Dr. Jennifer Lay. Dr. Yang Eun Lee. Dr. Jennifer H. Lim. Dr. Quinn R. McDougald. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Mayanka P. Mahendran. Dr. Jenny Chung Mai. Dr. Nicholas Mankowski. Also receiving her PhD, Dr. Marguerite Dolores Matosian. Dr. Rosemary Sirun Matosian. Dr. Anna Elizabeth Mead. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Grace Reeder Mead. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health, Dr. Michael Peter Miller, Jr. Dr. Bailey McCall Mansour. Dr. Matthew Hardy Moore. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health and Tropical Medicine, Dr. Ryan Elliott Nagy. Dr. Caleb Joseph Natali. Dr. Lisa Christine No. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health in Tropical Medicine, Dr. Lynn Gia New. Dr. Dan Tan Nguyen. Dr. Emily H. Wynn. Dr. Lim Yu Nguyen. Dr. Victor Tenam Wynn. Dr. Vu Din Nguyen. Dr. Madeline Lee Novak. Dr. Michael Rady Novak. Dr. Aluchi Wasu. Also receiving his MBA, Dr. Millicent Adeola Olawale. Dr. Samantha Claire Olivero. Dr. Jade W. Park. Dr. Avni Rajesh Kumar Putel. Dr. Prisha Umesh Putel. Also receiving his PhD, Dr. Harrison Michael Penrose. Dr. Tai Dan Pham. Dr. Tuan An Lee Fawn. Dr. Brett Michael Phillips. Dr. Gael Elijah Pollock. Dr. Alexander Pressman. Dr. William Baskerville Provosti III. Also receiving his PhD, Dr. Alexander C. Razavi. Dr. Adine Shraya Cardin Reisner. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Justin Lee Wren. Dr. Tong Ren. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Adrian Repak. Dr. Alexis Daniel Richards. Dr. Jackson Deming Roos. Dr. Adam Scott Brody Ross. Dr. Nicholas David Rowe. And also receiving a PhD, Dr. Rachel Alexandra Sable. Dr. Fuad Sayeg. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Alexander Ryan Sapin. Dr. Kara Ann Schradel. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health, Dr. Stephanie Rebecca Shea. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health, Dr. Daniel Heen Shin. Dr. Ranjit Singh Sidhu. Dr. Aaron Clancy Sigmund. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Emma Camille Seward. Dr. Michelle Elizabeth Scuba Gray. Dr. Quinn K. Smith. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health, Dr. Abigail Kaplan Solomon. Dr. Christina Marie Stang. Also receiving a Master's of Public Health in Tropical Medicine, Dr. Haley Noel Stevens. Dr. Kayla Juliet Street. Dr. Kevin Burns Sullivan. Dr. Anna Lee Swigert. Also receiving a Master's of Science, Dr. Aubrey James Swinford. Dr. Pooja Tanna. Dr. Christine Jane T. Dr. Andrew Schwan Vin Tran. Dr. Cassandra Tran. Dr. Daniel Quang Tran. Dr. Stacy Doc Tran. Also receiving his MBA, Dr. Torrance M. Tran. Dr. Lily Nguyen Trin. Dr. Tam Viet Van. Also receiving her Master's of Public Health in Tropical Medicine, Dr. Ashley L. Vellucci. Dr. Vithal Afrian Viella. Dr. David Vo. Dr. Kenny Akachi Fangbanyang. Dr. James Vu. Dr. Lance Anthony Walker. Dr. Henry Paul Wathew. Dr. Natasha Marie Wathew. Also receiving a Master's of Science, Dr. Victoria M. Waprinski. Dr. Cassidy Dillon Werner. Also receiving his MBA, Dr. Andrew John Weatherby. Dr. Garrett Hunter Williams. Also receiving his Master's of Public Health, Dr. Eric Charles Eugene Williamson. Also receiving a Master of Science, Dr. Dylan Garrett Wolf. Dr. Grant Maeda Wong. Dr. Johnny Wong. Dr. Alexandra Zoe Woodbridge. Dr. Stacy Michaela Yanofsky. Dr. Fareed Wejdi Zenadine. Dr. Tyler C. Zioli. Dr. Alan Dujang. And also receiving both the Masters of Public Health and the Masters of Science, Shayna Michelle Zucker. I think we should all give the class of 2021 and all the newly minted doctors a very big round of applause.
Dr. Ledoux is now going to lead the class in the oath.
Thank you, Dean Ham. I'd be remiss in not recognizing our graduates who are tuned in today from afar. We have about 12 graduates who, because of COVID, are already back in California awaiting their residencies. And I can feel you at home having received your hood from a loved one. And I wish you all the special wishes that today brings. And I hope you are in unity today here with us. The physician's oath is a very special part of the graduation ceremonies for physicians. It reminds us of what's important about what we do. And because of that, in addition to having the students recite the oath, we would invite those of you in the audience who are physicians to stand and recite the oath with us. Because this is an oath to the public and to patients, I would ask the students to now rise and turn and face your families and share this moment with them. I will give you the first part of the sentence, and I would ask that you simply repeat after me. I do solemnly swear before all that is holy and sacred that I will honor the profession of medicine and practice with conscience and dignity for the good of humanity. I will give my teachers the respect and gratitude that they deserve. And pass my knowledge to those who follow in the art of medicine. I will recognize the limits of my knowledge and seek to enhance my understanding and skills throughout my profession. I will conscientiously uphold the duties and noble traditions of the vocation. Of the art and science of medicine. And work with my colleagues as brothers and sisters in the service of humanity. I will advocate on my patients' behalf and strive for justice in the care of the sick. I will treat all who come to me, irrespective of their gender, race, religion, political affiliation, sexual orientation, nationality, social standing, economic status, or ability to pay. Nor be prejudiced in my duty to patients. I will remember that the physician's duty is to prevent and treat disease, and heal the sick, but above all, prevent suffering and do no harm. I will respect the dignity and privacy of all of my patients, holding secret and close what they have revealed to me, and place their well-being as my highest priority. I take this oath freely and upon my honor. By this oath, I consider the bond between physician and patient to be sacred. If I keep this oath faithfully, may I enjoy my life and practice my art. But if I swerve from it or violate it, may the reverse be my lot. Please be seated. At this time, I would like to invite Father Terry back to the podium to deliver the benediction.
Thou shalt not go crazy on Bourbon Street. Please stand. Life is short, and we do not have much time to gladden the hearts of those who make the journey with us. So be swift to love, make haste to be kind. Care for yourself and care for others. Tend to the sick, bless and show compassion to the dying. Soothe the suffering, shield the joyous, walk with integrity, and act upon justice. And the blessing of God who made us, who loves us, and who travels with us, be with you now and forevermore. Let the people say, Amen.
Before we close, I want to begin by telling you how delighted I am that we're celebrating this together. We weren't sure this was going to be able to take place. I hope that it's the last time we have to live, though, such a ceremony under the pandemic. I also want to be certain to thank the family and supporters that have helped get you here, keep you here, got you through. To put on this event took a lot of people, the Student Affairs Office and many, many people, and I can't call them all out, but let me mention Roberta and Carmen, who did tireless work where things were having to change day by day. I want to thank Diane for helping me, and I think Dr. Ledoux is going to come back up.
Thank you, Dean Ham. And just a couple of announcements before we dismiss. Once the graduation ceremony ends, faculty, students, and guests will need to exit in sections so there are not large crowds exiting at once. Again, we're trying to play by the rules here. The platform party will lead with the class of 2021 with the physicians and faculty following. Yeah, physicians, that's you. Once they have exited the ballroom, the guests can exit by groups. Dr. Weisbecker will time it based upon the flow of people through the doors when the individual guest groups can leave. So, I want to leave you with a thought. When you're deep into your internship, somewhere around October or November, I want you to say to yourself, yeah, I know what it means to miss New Orleans. Let the celebration begin, and congratulations to the class of 2021.